You know that feeling when something is so big, so profound, you just can't find the words for it? Well, that's exactly where we're starting. We're going to follow one person's incredible, decades long quest to try and map the unmappable, to answer one of the biggest questions there is: what is spirit? Believe it or not, this whole thing kicked off with a simple chat. The author's friend was talking about this powerful spiritual force that was, the bedrock of her whole life. But when he asked her, okay, so what is it exactly? That was her answer. And that right there, that inability to explain something so powerful, lit a fire under him and started this whole search. And so began the quest to map this invisible landscape. Now, this wasn't some armchair philosophy thing. Oh no, he dove headfirst into ancient systems of medicine, into deep philosophy. He was hunting for a real concrete answer. So, where do you even start with a question that big? Well, his first thought was pretty logical. Maybe spirit is the life force, the chi from Chinese medicine or prana from Indian philosophy, that energy that makes us all tick. Seemed like a slam dunk, right? But he pretty quickly hit a wall. He realized these concepts described what spirit does, but not what it fundamentally is. And that one little distinction, it sent him on a 5-year deep dive into traditional Chinese medicine. He figured, hey, if anyone has mapped this stuff out, it has to be in one of the world's most sophisticated systems for understanding the body's energy. And honestly, he got so close. He learned about the three treasures. You've got Jing, which is like your essential blueprint. Then Qi, the energy that runs everything. And then there was Shen. Now, Shen often gets translated as spirit. So you can imagine he thought, bingo, this is it. But nope. Shen turned out to be more like a detailed map of our consciousness, our mind, our psyche, not that single, all-encompassing spirit he was looking for. Can you just feel the frustration here? I mean, after years of intense study, he's got this beautiful, intricate map of the body's energy, of consciousness, but the main thing he's looking for is still missing. It's like the more he learned, the further away the answers seemed to get. Okay, so if the answer isn't purely in the body's energy, where do you go next? Well, he pivoted. The search got wider, expanding into the mind, into the informational fields of our being, into the very nature of the soul itself. He started digging into some more modern Western systems, hoping for a different kind of clue. And this is where he stumbled upon the work of Barbara Ann Brennan. And get this, she was a former NASA physicist who became a world-renowned healer. Talk about a career change. Her model of the human energy field was a whole new kind of map, showing these different layers of our being. Our etheric body, our emotional body, and even this idea of a core star, our deepest, truest self. From there, he jumped into Rudolf Steiner's work. And again, wow, another incredibly detailed map, this time of the soul's journey and evolution. But you can probably guess what's coming. It felt like another beautiful, perfect piece of the puzzle, but not the puzzle box itself. He called it a soulology, a deep study of the soul, but it still didn't answer the question, what is the spirit that the soul is reaching for? So let's just recap for a second. He's mapped the body, he's mapped the mind, he's mapped the soul. He has all these amazing complex charts from both East and West, and the original question is still just hanging there. Spirit itself was still completely off the map. And then it happened. After almost 20 years of this relentless search, the breakthrough. And it wasn't just another piece of the puzzle. It was the thing that made all the other pieces finally snap into place with a stunningly clear picture. The key turned out to be in the work of the philosopher Ken Wilber. See, Wilber talked about these higher transpersonal states of consciousness, but he didn't treat them like some spooky, mystical anomaly. He saw them as the natural next step in our development. And here's the kicker. He framed them as direct experiences of spirit. And this is the insight that changed everything. Wilber's idea was that we've been looking at it all wrong. The body, the mind, the soul, they aren't separate from spirit. The body is just spirit you can touch. The mind, that's spirit waking up and thinking. The soul is the bridge connecting the two. And spirit itself? Well, spirit is the whole show. It's bigger than all of them, but it also is all of them. This just flips the whole search on its head, right? He wasn't looking for a thing in the body or mind anymore. He realized spirit isn't a destination on the map. It's the paper the map is drawn on. It's the ground we're walking on, the goal we're heading towards, and the air we're breathing along the way. And when you put it all together like this, you can really see the journey.
Those early ideas, qi, shen, the human energy field, they weren't wrong. They were essential. They were describing what spirit does. But the final understanding is so much bigger. Spirit is what everything is. It's not just the energy in the system, it's the system itself and the very space it exists in.
Okay, let's make this super practical for a second. Right now, just notice everything you're aware of. Your body, your thoughts, maybe a sound in the background. All that stuff is the seen. But who or what is doing the seeing? That quiet, still unchanging presence behind your eyes that's just watching it all unfold, that is spirit. It's the pure awareness in which everything else appears. And this naturally leads us to that famous Zen riddle. It's designed to break your logical mind, to point you toward a state of non-duality. And that's just a fancy word for when the line between the watcher and the watched just dissolves. You realize the seeker and the thing you've been seeking were never two different things to begin with.
So, here it is, the ultimate definition we've been building towards. Think of existence as a ladder. Spirit is the very top rung, the highest state we can reach. But here's the wild part. Spirit is also the wood the entire ladder is made of. It's both the goal you're climbing toward and the ground you started from. In the end, the author's most profound conclusion was that the whole search, all the maps, all the theories, all the dead ends, was simply the process of spirit awakening to itself. It was never lost. It was always right here, just waiting to be recognized. So that's the map. We've journeyed from the body's energy all the way to the soul and then beyond. But it's just one person's map. And that really leaves us with the most important question of all, doesn't it? What does that journey, that search for what's beyond words, look like in your own life?